Hello, I am Drew Larson, the founding co-owner of Leaders Beverage. In today's short video, we're going to show you about the nitrogen faucet. We're going to take it apart for you, and we're going to show you some cleaning techniques with it. We're doing this video today because we have just gotten an overwhelming number of questions about the faucet, and there's really nothing out there that talks about how the inside works. So that's what we're going to do today. As well, I want to thank all of our subscribers for hitting that subscribe button and liking our videos and viewing them. Please take a minute to like this video if you find it useful, and toward the end you'll be able to subscribe. So let's go ahead and break this faucet down. Now then, you'll see I'm wearing purple protective gloves. The reason I'm doing this, and there's no purpose behind the purple other than that's the color they are, because whenever I'm cleaning, I'm usually in caustic solution or something of that sort, and safety is paramount, so I always wear protective gloves. Now I also want to point out that there's two different types of nitrogen faucets. You'll see on this type of nitrogen faucet there's a roll pin that holds this cam in place, and we'll get to that. That's the kind we're going to talk about today. There's another type of nitrogen faucet that has more of a screw, and this screw comes out of the side, and then the cam comes off and it breaks down pretty much in the same way. But we'll be talking about the other one today. So first, you'll see we're going to go ahead and take off this knurled nut. Now this knurled nut, this spins all the way up toward the marker to hold it in place. So when you spin the tap marker down, you can spin this knurled nut up to it. But we're going to go ahead and take that knurled nut off. And then this is the threaded rod. The threaded rod is where your marker will go down onto, or tap marker. And then we're going to go ahead and take this pin out. And I just use a little vice grip or something. And I've already gotten this started. And you can see that that sucker's in there kind of tight. So I use a little nail and maybe a tiny hammer, and I tap it until I get enough out. And then I grab onto it, and it just pulls right out like that. And it's going to go in the same way. You're going to have to tap it a little bit. All right, so now we have the cam, and this is what's actually rotating and pulling up the spindle assembly. So we're going to go ahead and take that guy off. This here is the bonnet, and that bonnet is just creating a base, and then there's a cushion. And that cushion goes right below the bonnet. And the reason for that is that when you're pulling on this handle, this is going to come up, and that it keeps rotating. This little piece of plastic would eventually wear down and break if you didn't have this cushion in there. So that cushion's pretty good when it comes to the longevity of your faucet. All right, now here we have the top cap. The top cap, we just go ahead and spin it right off. And there is a big heavy spring under there, so you saw that. So we're going to take the top cap off. We're going to take the locator. This is the locator. Notice there's a notch, and that notch will pair up with that. And then we got the heavy spring. And then here we have the spindle assembly. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and leave the spindle assembly, the collar, and the diaphragm put together. But I'm going to show you what they look like. So that's that spindle assembly, and this is one piece, and on top of that you'll have the collar, and then the diaphragm fits tightly on top of this. And the purpose for that is to actually stop the flow of beer. So when this is down inside of the faucet, that goes essentially up and down, and it stops the flow of beer. So that's how that's working. All right, now we're going to take off the nozzle, and this is a break point for many pieces, many faucets. Notice there's a small rubber washer there. It's only about that big. And then you have the nozzle. Now the nozzle by itself wouldn't have anything in there. However, that won't pour nitrogen beer properly. As a matter of fact, I'm going to splice in a little piece to show you what it looks like when it's not pouring. Okay, so In order to not have that happen, what we're going to need in there is a little flow straightener. Now a flow straightener is quite a small piece, and you can see it's like a little cone. And that literally just takes the beer back together and puts it back into a smooth flow. So that goes right inside the nozzle, and then you have a flow restrictor. The flow restrictor, this is the magic piece. Notice there are small little holes. See if I can get it so you can see the small little holes. There they are. And what that does inside the nozzle is that it helps break the nitrogen out of solution so that it creates that beautiful cascade. And then you're going to have one more of those little seals that goes down inside there, and then it's going to go back on top. Now, at your bar or in your house, wherever you're at using this nitrogen faucet, it's good practice to take the nozzle off every single night and soak it in water or some sort of cleaner. You can hear that it actually rotates a little bit in there, so you should be able to hear it pop back and forth. If not, something is stuck or there's some dry beer. And then before you put it on every morning, you want to inspect it and make sure that that diffusion plate is nice and clean. There's no debris or bacteria built up on it. And for the most part, that's all you should ever need to do to your faucet. If there's a bigger problem, you want to ask your draft tech, or now that you've seen this video, feel free to take it apart and give it a look-see. And if you put it back together, let us know. We'd love to hear how it went for you and if you found this helpful. Now we're going to put this back together right quick. And the other thing that I want to mention as I'm putting this back together is that nitrogen beer is supposed to be poured with a mixture of 20%, I forgot the locator, did you see that? So locator right there, and that'll locate down as soon as we get that to work, which it's going to do. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so I got the threads to catch. We're just going to tighten it up. And remember, the cushion will go right on top, the bonnet and the cam, and then that pin goes right back in. Okay, and that is taking apart and putting back together the nitrogen faucet. Now, one other thing I want to mention very quick is that nitrogen beer is meant to be poured with a mixture of gases. So 25% carbon dioxide and 75% nitrogen. In order to achieve this blend, you can either use a gas blender where the two types of gas go into the blender and the blender blends it and then sends it to the keg. The other way is to get gas cylinders that are already pre-blended. Now that gas is meant specifically for nitrogen beers and should not be used for all of your other beers. I've run into this more than once where the nitrogen blend is then being used for all the beers on the system and the beer just doesn't pour properly because that's not what it was meant for. If you have any questions about the gas blend, about the faucet itself, or anything else draft related, please don't hesitate to send us a message below, to like this, to subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, we will respond. So I hope you enjoyed the video or found something useful in it. Our passion is your next drink. Cheers.